In this video we look at the real cost of campervan life, both in space and in cash. Before we make this video, after one of our regular viewers, Paul Bowers, left a comment on our recent equipment and accessories video, suggesting that it looks like the cost that we're spending on all the accessories and the amount of space that those accessories take is slowly filling up the van. Well, you're absolutely right, Paul, if you're watching this video. It is slowly filling up the van, and I thought I would share with everyone just how quick and easy it is to spend a lot of money living the camper life and taking up a lot of space in your camper van. So if we look at what we've currently got for our van, and a lot of these items we've covered in a previous video, so I will not go into detail about those items. We have a number of things that we pack into our van before we go camping. This includes thermal insulation for the windscreen and the door glasses, the pop-top insulation kit, the awning, the ground sheet and the carpet for the awning, a porta potty, extra seating, sleeping bags, a radiator, the extension cable for the 240 volt hookup, and the number of accessories including the ridge monkey, the toaster, the kettles, the bowls, the cups, the utensils. And not forgetting, of course, luggage. We have to pack to go away on holiday. So you can imagine when all these items are in the van, it takes up a lot of room. Yes, there's quite a lot of space available in the van. This is the short wheelbase version of the Transporter T6. There is a long wheelbase version, which is exactly 400mm longer than this one. But it's still very easy to fill up your camper van, and it's things that you need to factor in to the whole purchase cost of the camper van and everything that you might choose to put in it. So of course some costs are controllable. It depends what you want to spend, what your budget is on your camper van, and what you want to furnish inside the camper van. If we use ours as an example, and of course camper vans can be much lower priced than ours and they can be much higher priced than ours. But if we just use ours as an example, our Transporter T6 was brand new. And brand new currently in the UK, the T6, well actually no, there's a 6.1, but if we look at the price for the T6 when we purchased it, the base van is around £30,000 for the Highline specification that we've got here. And that's a whole hill of money even before we start thinking of converting it to a camper van. Then of course, it's converting it to a camper van. For all you folks that convert your own camper van, again, like I've said in videos before, I literally do take my hat off. I haven't got a hat to take off, so I can't. So for all of you folks that convert your own camper van, I literally do take my hat off to you. I think it's fantastic if you do it yourself. You're obviously saving a lot of cost with labour. You have the appreciation that you've done the hard work yourself. And in the unlikely event that you get a problem with it, who's better to know what that problem might be than the person who actually built it? So genuine thumbs up for those. But for the rest of us who go and purchase one off the shelf, what's the cost of that purchase? It's very easy for that conversion to cost at least £10,000, and I have seen conversions cost at least £25,000-30,000, which immediately puts the Transporter T6 into California prices. And personally for me, if I was looking to spend at least 55-60k on a camper van, I would probably go the California route, just because it came out the factory from VW as a camper van. However, sticking with this van, so we know the base price was around £30,000, and then you've got the conversion price. So you can imagine the cost that we have already invested in this van is quite a lot of money. So when you purchase your camper van, you quickly realise, as you start to furnish it with all the items that you want, and of course many of those that you'll need, that you're spending many hundreds of pounds again on top. So let's start looking at the costs for the items that we have in our van. We'll start with the thermal screens. We've got internal thermal screens. They're absolutely great. They don't cause much condensation. I'm sure they do retain quite a lot of heat in the vehicle, and they're about £35. You can have external thermal screens. Now, they are a lot more money. You can also have them customised, and then they're even more money. But for now, we'll stick with the £35.
Then of course you got the pop top installation. So the one that we chose from Campervan Couture, was about £130. I think that's very good value for money. And although we have yet to test it, I have every confidence that it will do the job. Next is the awning. So we've gone for a modest size awning. We've gone for the Van Gogh Tolga Sport. Why did we go for the Van Gogh Tolga? Because it's been specifically designed for the VW Transporter. We like the size of the awning. We didn't want something overly big, because although, yes, we do have 2 kids, the way we see it is everything takes up space in the van. This video is about the amount of space that you take up in a van. So we felt that having a modest size awning would still give us enough space to effectively have a living room that's in the camper van and a separate living room outside. And it has a little area as you come out the van where you can store things like the porta potty and lots of other stuff that you've taken on holiday. So we're looking forward to using that for the first time, and we'll be doing a review of that awning. For the awning, of course, we then have a drive-away kit to enable us to leave the awning there if we choose to use the camper van. And then of course you've got the ground sheet and the carpet for the awning. All these items are taking up space. Now for all of those items we paid about £650. Now we chose to have a TV, and therefore with the TV you need an aerial in our van. You don't have to have a TV in your van, of course, but we did. And the TV is about £130 that we chose. Link in the description for all these items. And the aerial's about £35–40. We take extra seating with us so that we can sit in the awning. It's a double seat, takes a bit of space up, costs about £40–45. We have an electric radiator. Again, takes up a bit of space, costs about £25. You've got the extension hookup cable for when you're on the campsite, and depending on what size you choose, can easily be £15, £20, £25. Sleeping bags. Of course we need 4 sleeping bags. So again, they were about £20, £25 each. And then of course it's all those wonderful accessories that I showed you in more detail in a previous video, with a couple of extras that I found in our camper van. So you've got the kettles, the toaster, the bowls, the cups, the saucers, the plates. You obviously need a water jug for topping up the water supply when you're on the campsite. So you're going to need pillows, and ultimately you're going to take luggage with you. So you can imagine the number of items that we take with us when we go camping. So basically folks, what we're saying is it's very easy to spend £1,000 and more kitting out your camper van. Of course you can spend less. We have chose the items that we have in our camper van. But when I sit back and I actually look at what we've spent and we add that on to the price of the actual van itself, you realise that the whole camper van life that we've chosen and we love is not a cheap hobby. So if I'd have known all the costs before we actually purchased the camper van, would we have still done it? Yes, we absolutely would still do it. We believe it's a fantastic decision that we made. It'll build lots of memories for our family. Looking forward to the trips that we're going to be doing. Early on, there were a few moments where I started to waver just a little, and I just started to think maybe a motorhome would be a better choice. Not a huge motorhome, not the 6–7 metre ones that need a C1 class licence, even though I do have a C1 class licence for the UK, but just something maybe 6 metres long, bit more space, bit more comfort, not needing quite so many of the add-ons. So wouldn't personally have chosen awning if we'd got a motorhome as an example. There are of course pros and cons to the whole motorhome versus camper van, and we went through a lot of those before we took the decision. The motorhome is typically taller, wider, longer, not quite so easy to manoeuvre down some of the roads, certainly the country roads in the UK that we have. The camper van of course is only really occupying about the same footprint as a large size car, so we can fit it in a normal car parking bay, etc. We're able to store the camper van here at home. It's out of sight, it's in the garage. We couldn't do that with the motorhome. We would have to pay for storage, which is at least £400–500 a year. The fuel economy, of course, is better for the camper van because it's just less mass, less vehicle to be driving down the road. Although one of the points that I thought the camper van would win over the motorhome, but we've yet to prove that's the case, is the ability once you've got to the campsite to just disconnect from the awning and drive anywhere you want to drive and tour wherever you want to go. That sounds great, and I'm sure we will do that at some point in the future. However, initially what we found is it takes a while to get the camper van into camper van mode
put the pop top up, put the thermal screens on, just set everything out however you want it. And really speaking, that means that there's not so much incentive for us to get in the van, put it back into driving mode and go off somewhere. So what we've done so far is just tour the area where the campsite is. I'm sure we will venture out further afield. It's just you have to consider that when you set up the camper van to be used as a camper van on site, there's some things that you then have to do to be able to drive off. It's not just a simple case of putting the key in the ignition and going. So that's it really, folks. Hope you found that informative. As always, please consider subscribing to the channel. It shows your support. It tells YouTube's algorithms to offer the video to even more people. It really is beneficial to the channel if you subscribe. See you in the next one.